New Orleans cannot recover. Detroit cannot recover because the only way that those places could recover at this point, at this moment in time, is if somehow the people who are putting all this downward pressure on them, two things have to happen. Number one, the people who are putting all the downward pressure on you have to stop. That's the first thing. The second thing is you got to get off your ass and do something. And the second one never happened, and that's what led to the first one happening. And those two things together, if somehow that were to occur, then then those places could recover. But being a realist, why would these people stop putting the downward pressure now? They smell dollars.
Right, exactly. They're basically we're on two. What's happening with the black folk and what's happening to others is we're in polar opposites of an emergence curve. They're into self-emergence, and black folks is going through negative feedback. And when you go through negative feedback, all of a sudden that's something that because it's just a feedback loop that goes into the abyss. Whereas if you're in the positive feedback or self-emergence, then all of a sudden you create things that create things that create things that create things, and that's how nations are built. We will be forced into a situation where you have to go back to the basics, and that's becoming producers. Not talking about music and bling. I'm talking about creating things that people want to buy. There's a need that you can fulfill, and then we have to nationalize it and protect it.
Now the operative word there, not to cut you off, but the operative word there is need. Because you don't need a rap CD. Nice to have. But you cannot sustain a nation upon your ability to call yourself Young Wheezy and Young Jeezy and Young Bleezy and Young... That is not what a nation is built upon. If you want to know what a nation is built upon, if you want to know the skills we need to develop, just take a look at Hong Kong. Just take a look at China today. You take a look at that today, and we're talking about a place that has few natural resources. I mean, except their ability to make steel. Now, that they have gotten. But they're not a big agricultural power. They're not this big technological power, but they have used what they do have, this raw, in their case, unlimited human capital, to the best of their ability to make things people need. I direct everybody to go to PBS Frontline. They got a great documentary that they did about China there, where they talk about Textile City. And they say, yes, they call it Textile City because this is where they make most of the world's textiles here. And then they've got what they call Microwave City and TV City, where they make most of the world's televisions. I mean, that is the kind of things that people need, manufacturing. Now, they can't provide services because a service is only something that you can provide if you're actually in the vicinity of the person who's going to be buying it. However, they have become the world's manufacturing warehouse, making things people need, making things that you have to have. And that is what sustains itself, things you need, not luxuries and extravagances that you've told yourself, things I never knew existed, and now that I know it's here, can't possibly live without. That's a fad. Manola Blahniks are a fad. Shoes are a necessity. Manola Blahniks are a fad. And those people have mastered the art of giving us what we need. I mean, Brother Carl, if tomorrow morning, okay, forget tomorrow morning. Even if they gave us a heads up and said next year, we are not going to have any grocery stores in your city. Do you know what you'd call it? You'd call it Detroit. That's what you'd call it.
Exactly. You said the magical word. Where food purchasers decide, hey, this is a little too criminal for us. We'd rather mom and pop stores be there instead of actual supermarkets and food managers bringing food. If they can do that with food, they can do that with water, emergency services. They could do that with medical, just about anything else, because of the lack of self-determination and self-reliance.
And we witnessed that in Hurricane Katrina.
Exactly. That's 2 words, New Orleans.
Yes.
I mean, but it can change, and it's going to take. It'll, like I was saying earlier, it'll be something that has to be done almost immediately overnight. It can change, but it's going to take something that is akin to a miracle to try to get it to happen. Okay?
Did you hear the beginning of the broadcast?
I'm sorry?
Did you hear the beginning of the broadcast?
No, I didn't get a chance to.
Okay. Did you hear last night's broadcast?
No. I just got in the country, so I'm just kind of,
You want to listen to that because I played a piece from the NAACP's convention last year. Now that Miss Rosalind Brock is going to be taking over from what's his name, Julian Bond at the NAACP, and I juxtapositioned her speech saying that the NAACP's mission is not over now that we're in a post-racial society. That she said that. Now that we're in a post-racial society, the NAACP's mission is not over. We can't be silent as long as 47 million Americans don't have health care. There's only 30 million black people in America. Where these other 17 million people come from? Oh, yeah, now we're going to be in the business of everything but promote the advancement of black people. We can't be silent as long as 13 million American children go without decent education. We can't be silent as long as black children can't swim at the Valley Swimming Pool in Philadelphia.
Right.
This is the 21st century, the year 2009 she made that speech, and you're still talking about integrating the public pool.
Right.
As our mission.
Exactly. The NAACP, I'm glad you brought that up, because the NAACP, we know where they had from their inception, so we know that it's, the National Association of Certain People. One of the things, and I have to tell you youngsters about this, and it's really important that you guys understand this, okay? And that's why we have, because I'm kind of in between the elder stage, and I've raised people you guys' age. Or let's put it this way: King of the Mountain is not a multicultural sport.
Nope.
And that's what a lot of the older folk, and especially my generation and older, don't understand. They came up with this assimilationist, that can we all be, we're trying so we can, we've given, and I commend them for that. I can't debase the things that they've gone through, but I have to say that there comes a time when you have to grow, and there comes a time when you have to say, okay, that did not work. I have to try something else, because your generation is the generation that if we don't establish something for you guys to be successful and to take over this world, then everything we've done is for naught. So the thing is this assimilationist, looking out for everyone else's. Other races understand how to really play the game of King of the Mountain, and it's a zero-sum game. Unfortunately, we're going to be ending up with the zero unless we really start looking toward the future, and I'm talking folks my age and older.
Brother Carl, I gave this analogy before, and I'll say it again. We are looking at the very real possibility, and I'm just going to say it like it is, the very real possibility that the end of the 21st century is going to look a lot like the end of the 18th century for black people. Wouldn't it be a damn shame if we woke up in the year 2090 with black people picking oranges and beans in the fields in California?
Right. If we're still around to do it.
Well, I imagine we'll be there.
And when I say if we're still around to do it, is a lot of us don't understand. A lot of because we become comfortable in believing others' information. Genocide is very real. Okay, it's a very, very real thing. When people are into econo-ethnic protectionism, or like I say, global King of the Mountain, it's there was a guy who I believe his name is Russell Means, and of course I don't, I just like to look at what others are doing, and I believe he's one of the indigenous people of this country. I'm not sure what tribe he was in. And I could tell the pain when he was talking, and he says, there's only 250,000 of us left. He's talking about the so-called American Indian. Well, I'd say they're indigenous. But that is a true face of genocide. I'm going to read you just a couple of seconds of this. It says, tribeswoman dies with her language. Her name was Bo. When I was over there, and it says the last member of a 65,000-year-old tribe has died taking one of the world's earliest languages to the grave. At one point it says that Bo seniors lived through the horrors of the 2000 Asian tsunami, Japanese occupation, and the diseases brought by colonizers in the 19th century. She just died, and she was with the Andamanese, I believe it was. It was in one of the places I was over in Australia, and it was not too far from there. She died just the week when I was there. And this is the last of a language, the last of a people that will never, ever, ever be around anymore. I hope that end of the 21st century doesn't mirror that for black folk. Unfortunately, I think with our behaviors, we're right in line in that particular, the same queue as her and Russell Means.
We're already watching the cross-migration taking place. The cross-migration of the Hispanics out in the field picking beans and black people who have jobs They have jobs and no desire to become business owners in any way, shape, form, fashion, stretch of the imagination. And